Chapter 6: The New Target. In the heart of the training field, Sasuke, now a 5-year-old with wisdom and experience far beyond his years, was immersed in his routine training regimen. His small body strained against the effort of push-ups, strengthening his muscles for the challenges that lay ahead. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and plans, a continuous dialogue with the voice that had become his constant companion, Naruto. Their focus had shifted to a new target, Kabuto. Kabuto is a member of the root, Naruto. Sasuke spoke out loud, the exertion of his training evident in his voice. We need to get to him before Danzo sends him off to spy on another village. His eyes held a determined glint as he contemplated his target. Kabuto's connection to Root and his elusive nature made him a difficult target. Sasuke had been shadowing him for a while, but Kabuto was seldom alone, and his constant vigilance made any attempt on him risky. However, Sasuke knew the importance of removing such a significant piece from Danzo's chessboard. It was a risky mission, but Sasuke was no stranger to danger. Exhausted but driven, Sasuke made his way home as dusk wrapped the village in shades of twilight. The familial chatter and warmth of his home served as a stark contrast to the cloak-and-dagger life he led outside its confines. His mother was the first to notice him, her eyes flickering with the mixture of worry and love that was her permanent expression these days. "You've been out late again, Sasuke. Camping, is it?" Her voice held a skeptical note, but Sasuke nodded earnestly, managing a tired grin. "Yes, Mother," he affirmed, striving to keep his voice light despite the fatigue clinging to his bones. "And I'll be heading out again tomorrow." The lie was necessary, a shield to protect his family from the truth of his dangerous undertakings. As this exchange unfolded, his father, beaming with a pride that was nearly palpable, cut in. "Did you hear, Sasuke? Your brother has made it into the Umbu. At the young age of 11. The announcement was met with a respectful nod from Sasuke, his heart echoing his father's pride. Itachi was a prodigy, his achievements already stuff of legends. Suddenly, a soft snort of disbelief pierced the quiet conversation. Itachi, leaning casually against the wall, shot Sasuke a skeptical look. "Camping, really, Sasuke?" he teased, a rare smile on his face. "Is that the latest trend for 5-year-olds these days?" His tone, light and teasing, brought a spark of laughter to the household, lightening the atmosphere. As the day wrapped up, Sasuke's resolve strengthened. He had a mission, and despite the odds, he was ready to face whatever came his way. Retreating to the sanctuary of his room, Sasuke allowed himself a rare moment of relaxation, leaning back against his bed. "Itachi never believes me, does he?" He spoke to the voice in his head, his tone light. Naruto's voice resonated within him, tinged with amusement. "Did you really expect him to believe the camping story?" Both of them shared a silent laugh, their camaraderie transcending the peculiar circumstances of their connection. But then, as quickly as the moment had come, it passed. There were graver matters at hand. "We have new information, Naruto," Sasuke began, his voice dropping to a more serious tone. "Kabuto has been assigned a mission. He's going after a rogue ninja." "And when is he leaving?" Naruto inquired, his presence felt in every corner of Sasuke's mind. "Tonight," Sasuke confirmed, his gaze set on the darkening skies outside his window. This was the opening he'd been waiting for. A chance to take out a crucial player in Danzo's schemes. The night was closing in, but for Sasuke, the path had never been clearer. As the last vestiges of daylight surrendered to the encroaching darkness, Sasuke slipped away from his home, his body a shadow melting into the night. The streets of the Leaf Village lay silent, the usual bustle giving way to a peaceful quiet. But for Sasuke, this calm was merely the precursor to a storm. Stay focused, Sasuke, Naruto's voice echoed in his head, steady and reassuring as always. Remember, timing is everything. Sasuke's reply was a silent nod, his focus honed on the task ahead. His mission was simple: trail Kabuto, isolate him and strike when the time was right. As he navigated the quiet streets, Sasuke couldn't help but think about the crossroads he stood at. His actions tonight could change the course of many lives, shaping the future in ways he couldn't even begin to fathom. The hours ticked away as Sasuke shadowed Kabuto, each heartbeat bringing him closer to the decisive moment. It was a dangerous game, a dance of shadows under the moon's silent watch. But for the sake of his village, for the promise of a better future, Sasuke was ready to play his part. The dance of shadows continued, the Leaf Village asleep, oblivious to the clandestine actions taking place under its very nose. Sasuke, the predator, stayed hidden, eyes keenly following his unsuspecting prey Kabuto. "I hope you know what you're doing, Sasuke," Naruto's voice chimed in his mind, an undercurrent of worry tinging his words. "I do," Sasuke replied, his voice resonating with confidence. This was his moment, the culmination of days of preparation and waiting. The moon was high in the sky when Kabuto finally stepped into the clearing, his movements assured, confident. Sasuke observed him from the shadows, patiently biding his time. Suddenly, a rustle of leaves, a snap of a twig, and Sasuke sprung into action, like a panther pouncing on its prey. The element of surprise was his ally, his Sharingan eyes glowing ominously in the dark. As the Leaf Village lay engulfed in silence, unaware of the drama unfolding, Sasuke made his move, ready to confront his destiny head-on. As quick as a striking snake, Sasuke lunged at Kabuto, his Sharingan eyes a beacon in the moonlit clearing. Kabuto, taken by surprise, barely had time to react as Sasuke's fist connected with his face, sending him sprawling. "Surprised to see me?" Sasuke taunted, stepping into the moonlight, his figure looming over the fallen root member. Despite the odds, there was a twisted sense of pleasure in this, and taking out the pawns of the man who tormented his clan. "Demon!" Kabuto stammered, trying to scramble away. But Sasuke was on him in an instant, his hand locked around Kabuto's throat, lifting him off the ground. Now, Kabuto," Sasuke's voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Isn't it time you stopped playing puppet for Danzo?" His Sharingan eyes bore into Kabuto's terrified gaze, the chill of the night nothing compared to the ice in Sasuke's voice. And as the moon bore silent witness, a new chapter in the Leaf Village's history was etched into existence. Chapter 7, Revelations. As dawn's first light pierced the veil of night, Sasuke stood alone in the heart of the Leaf Village. His gaze was fixed on Kabuto, whose body lay still at his feet, the fatal strike delivered with swift, calculated precision. "No mercy for those who threaten the leaf," Sasuke muttered under his breath, the resolve in his voice echoing the harsh reality of his actions. In the silence that followed, Naruto's voice lingered in his mind, a sigh resonating through the void. "I wish it didn't have to come to this, Sasuke. But you did what had to be done." Sasuke, for his part, simply stood in silence. The gravity of his actions weighed on him, acknowledging the irrevocable path he'd chosen. He found grim satisfaction in knowing that he'd eliminated a threat to his village, but the taste of victory was bitter. As the morning sun spilled over the horizon, painting the sky with warm hues of dawn, Sasuke vanished into the early light, leaving the lifeless root member as evidence of his deadly resolve. One more pawn removed from Danzo's board, one step closer to a future he could shape. The day unfolded in the Leaf Village, a normalcy prevailing that belied the events of the previous night. Sasuke, back in his home, grappled with the heavy reality of his choices. The voice of Naruto lingered in his thoughts, serving both as a source of comfort and a stark reminder of the path he had chosen. Do you think this was the right thing to do, Naruto? Sasuke found himself asking, his gaze fixed on the morning sun outside his window. The voice of his friend was quiet when it finally came. Sasuke, I wish it didn't have to come to this. But we can't change the past, we can only shape our future. The words echoed within Sasuke, their truth resonating deep within. His decision, however grim, had been for the sake of that future. The day passed in a blur. Sasuke found himself returning to his routine, the act of training and learning providing a sense of normalcy amidst the storm. His resolve remained as strong as ever. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of dusk, Sasuke prepared for the next phase of his plan. He knew the path ahead was fraught with challenges, but he was ready. After all, it was the future of the Leaf Village that was at stake. Under the cover of night, Sasuke ventured to his clandestine training ground. The vast, dark expanse above mirrored the convoluted labyrinth of his thoughts, teeming with trepidation and ambiguity. Although Kabuto's death wasn't his first kill in this renewed existence, it was a chilling confirmation of the path he had deliberately chosen. Sasuke, I sense your inner turmoil, Naruto's voice echoed in his mind, laced with concern. Remember to take care of yourself. Sasuke shook his head, his gaze riveted on the low-hanging moon. Rest is a luxury I can't afford, Naruto, he retorted, his voice carrying the weight of determination. Danzo is still out there, still a threat. A heavy silence fell between them, thick and palpable. Eventually, it was Naruto's voice that broke the silence, resolute and unwavering. We'll tackle him together, Sasuke. We always have. A spark of warmth ignited within Sasuke at Naruto's words, softening his icy resolve. He wasn't alone, Naruto was with him. With renewed focus, Sasuke plunged back into his training, every strike and maneuver echoing his unwavering resolution to safeguard the Leaf Village, regardless of the price. Sasuke trained through the night, the moon his only silent witness as he honed his skills. His actions had already set a series of events into motion, and he needed to be prepared for the consequences. Danzo won't stay quiet for long, Naruto's voice echoed in Sasuke's mind, tinged with a sense of foreboding. We need to be ready for whatever he throws at us. I know, Sasuke replied, his muscles straining as he pushed himself to his physical limits. That's why I can't afford to rest, not until I'm strong enough. There was a pause, filled with the sounds of the night, before Naruto's voice came back, softer this time. I have faith in you, Sasuke. We'll face this together. A small smile found its way to Sasuke's lips at Naruto's words. Despite the path he had chosen, despite the darkness that lay ahead, he found comfort in the knowledge that he was not alone. As the first light of dawn started to break through the darkness, Sasuke finally allowed himself a moment of rest, his body weary but his resolve stronger than ever. He was ready for whatever came next. Chapter 8: The Fallen Leaf. Under the cloak of twilight, Sasuke orchestrated a daring plan, a poisoned feast targeting Danzo and the village elders at a clandestine meeting. These figures held the reins of the village, their puppet strings reaching far and wide. To free the leaf, Sasuke knew he needed to sever those strings. After the meeting, the grim news quickly circulated: all the village elders had been poisoned, a tragedy that sent shockwaves through the leaf. However, Danzo had evaded the fatal end. His bodyguard, serving as a food taster, had inadvertently taken the fatal hit. Sasuke, concealed in the shadows, observed the aftermath. It was a partial success, the village elders were out of the picture, but Danzo, the main target, remained. And now, Danzo was aware he was being targeted. The fox had been poked, it would now be even more vigilant, making Sasuke's mission significantly more challenging. Getting to Danzo won't be as straightforward anymore, Sasuke said, his voice resonating in the silence of the night. Naruto's voice echoed back, a note of concern underpinning his words. Danzo's like a cornered beast now, Sasuke. He'll be more dangerous than ever. Sasuke simply nodded, acknowledging Naruto's words. His path was lined with thorns, but he was determined to walk it. After all, the future of the leaf was at stake. As the news of the poisoned elders rippled through the village, Sasuke found an unusual way to lighten the situation. His voice barely above a whisper, he mused, "You know, Naruto, if this ninja thing doesn't work out, I could have a promising career as a chef." Naruto's laugh echoed in his mind, dispelling some of the tension. "Oh sure," he quipped, specializing in deadly desserts and lethal lasagnas. Even in the midst of a failed assassination attempt, they found humor. Sasuke allowed himself a grin, appreciating the bizarre situation he'd found himself in. The silver lining? The village elders were out of play, and that was something. However, Naruto's voice soon became serious. "But Sasuke, Danzo knows he's a target now. He'll be on high alert." Sasuke nodded, his humor fading. "I know, Naruto. This just got a lot harder." But he was far from giving up. He had a mission, and he intended to see it through, no matter what stood in his way. The Leaf Village was plunged into chaos and mourning with the sudden demise of the village elders. While the village reeled from the unexpected tragedy, Sasuke used the ensuing confusion to his advantage. As the people were focused on the aftermath, he delved deeper into the shadows, sharpening his plans for the elusive Danzo. "Are you sure about this, Sasuke?" Naruto's voice broke through his thoughts, a hint of worry seeping through. "More than ever," Sasuke replied, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "Danzo's reign ends now." A pause hung between them before Naruto responded, "You're not alone in this, Sasuke." A wave of gratitude washed over Sasuke. His path was dark, treacherous, and fraught with danger. But knowing he had Naruto by his side gave him the strength to persevere. Armed with determination and resolve, Sasuke started the next phase of his plan. He was keenly aware that the hardest battle was yet to come, but he was ready. After all, he wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting for the Leaf Village. Days turned into weeks as Sasuke meticulously planned his next move. With Danzo now on high alert, a direct approach was out of the question. Sasuke needed to outmaneuver him, to catch him unawares. He started tailing the root members, gathering information, and predicting Danzo's actions. "Be careful, Sasuke," Naruto cautioned. "Root is no joke, and Danzo's paranoia is at an all-time high." "I know," Sasuke replied, his eyes focused on a root member he'd been observing from the shadows. "I can't afford any mistakes. This is a deadly game of shogi, and I can't lose." Naruto didn't respond, but Sasuke knew he was there, a constant presence lending him support. It was a twisted scenario. In their old life, Naruto had always tried to prevent him from doing such things, and now, in this life, he had become his confidant, his ally. With each passing day, Sasuke's plan started taking a more solid shape. He knew he was walking on a knife's edge. A single slip, a single miscalculation could prove fatal, but he didn't have the luxury to falter. As the darkness of the night deepened, Sasuke disappeared into the shadows, ready to fight another day for the Leaf Village. Chapter 9: The Hawk's Prey. In the cloak of darkness, Sasuke shadowed his elusive target, Danzo. His Sharingan eyes, honed by the battles of the past, caught a startling detail. Danzo's arm, usually an eerie patchwork of Sharingan, was distinctly normal. A grim understanding settled upon him. Danzo hadn't yet procured the Sharingan arm, implying he obtained it during the Uchiha massacre. This information lit a fire under Sasuke's. Danzo, without his full powers, was more vulnerable now than he would ever be. Armed with his Manjikyu Sharingan, Sasuke was confident in his ability to take on Danzo in direct combat. Yet, the question of when and where to strike remained. An assassination attempt needed precise timing and perfect execution. "Don't rush into this, Sasuke," Naruto's voice echoed in his mind. "Danzo's still dangerous." "I'm aware," Sasuke responded, his gaze never leaving Danzo. His previous assassination attempt on Danzo had taught him that poison wasn't the answer. Danzo was too meticulous, too wary. A direct confrontation seemed the only plausible option. The challenge was daunting, but Sasuke was ready. A flawless plan was what he needed, and he was determined to craft one. As he observed Danzo, his resolve only strengthened. Sasuke spent the remainder of the night perched on a tree, observing Danzo's heavily fortified headquarters. The roots base was a fortress, impenetrable and always on high alert. A direct assault would be suicide. "Maybe you could lure him out?" Naruto suggested, voicing Sasuke's thoughts. "Exactly," Sasuke responded, eyes never leaving the building. He needed Danzo away from his protective layers, out in the open, vulnerable. The challenge was determining how to lure such a cautious and calculating man out of his stronghold. It would require a strategic bait, a compelling reason for Danzo to leave his sanctuary. As Sasuke pondered over possible strategies, his determination remained unswerving. He would find a way, no matter how difficult. He was the hawk, circling its prey, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in for the kill. Just when Sasuke was contemplating his strategy, an unexpected chance fell into his lap. Emerging from the heavily guarded fortress, one of Danzo's high-ranking bodyguards, distinguishably of the Aburame clan, made his way into the open. "Naruto, aren't those the same bugs Shino uses?" Sasuke asked, recognizing the subtle movements of insects encircling the man. "Yes, Sasuke, they're definitely Aburame's bugs," Naruto affirmed. "Danzo has a wide range of allies." An idea sparked in Sasuke's mind. He didn't reveal his plan to Naruto, or even to himself just yet. But he knew he was onto something that could potentially swing the odds in his favor. Without wasting another moment, Sasuke tailed the Aburame, effortlessly blending into the dark alleyways and rooftops. Every step the man took, every movement of his insects, Sasuke took note. He was devising a strategy, a plan that could finally corner Danzo. The Aburame clansman continued his path, oblivious to the predator shadowing him. Sasuke watched him like a hawk, each step taken bringing him closer to his prey. Then, the moment presented itself. Sasuke smoothly interwove himself into the man's path, heading in the opposite direction. As they crossed, he locked eyes with the clansman. His Sharingan spun, ensnaring the Aburame into a potent genjutsu. Underneath the man's shell of insects, his eyes widened. He was trapped, his mind ensnared by the phantom world Sasuke had drawn him into. The city around them continued in its usual hustle and bustle, unaware of the silent battle transpiring within their midst. Sasuke broke the gaze, continuing to walk past the Aburame as if they were simply two passers-by crossing paths. But now, the man was under his control, a puppet whose strings he could pull. Having been ensnared by Sasuke's genjutsu, the Aburame clan member raced back to the root base. His breath was ragged as he burst through the doors, shouting with feigned urgency, "Lord Danzo, we have a problem. Lord Third has been assassinated." The lie, woven seamlessly into his panicked plea, echoed hauntingly throughout the room. The air thickened with tension, shock rippling through the onlookers. Even Danzo, a man known for his steel nerves, was momentarily taken aback. Without a moment of hesitation or a hint of doubt about the authenticity of the claim, Danzo succumbed to his emotions. His usually stoic face betrayed shock and concern as he rushed out of his fortress, alone, leaving behind his usual retinue of guards and precautions. Hidden in the shadows, Sasuke watched as his plan unfurled, his heart pounding in his chest. Danzo was alone and vulnerable, exactly the scenario he had been waiting for. It was time to strike. Steeled with determination, his Sharingan swirled with a resolute glow. He steeled himself for the confrontation to come. "Ready, Naruto?" he asked the voice in his head, his voice unwavering. "Let's do this, Sasuke," Naruto's voice echoed back, equally firm. And with that, the stage was set for a confrontation that could potentially change the course of history. This was the moment of truth, the beginning of the end for one of them. Chapter 10: The Dance of Death. On the path to the third Hokage's home, Danzo unwittingly fell into a trap masterminded by Sasuke. A rope suddenly snared his foot, yanking him into the air and leaving him dangling upside down. As the rope swung him towards a nearby tree, he caught sight of a line of sharp weapons embedded into the trunk, their deadly points aimed directly at him. They were perfectly positioned for a lethal strike at his heart or neck. Using his extensive battle experience, Danzo twisted his body in midair just in time. Instead of a fatal blow, the nearest weapon pierced his shoulder, intense pain flaring up immediately. Danzo wasted no time. He quickly cut the rope, falling to the ground while clutching his bleeding shoulder. No sooner had he landed, a kunai was already flying towards him. In the blink of an eye, he deflected the incoming kunai. He knew he was in a vulnerable position, but he needed to stay sharp to survive. As Danzo darted for cover, his foot caught on another unseen trap. The ground beneath him gave way, opening up into a gaping pit lined with lethal spikes. Reacting swiftly, he focused chakra into his hands, grabbing onto the edge of the pit before he could fall onto the spikes below. Without a moment's hesitation, Sasuke tossed an explosive tag into the pit. Danzo, understanding the imminent danger, channeled more chakra to propel himself out of the pit, just as the tag detonated. The ensuing explosion filled the area with dust and debris, providing a temporary smokescreen. Seizing the opportunity, Sasuke swiftly hurled another kunai, taking advantage of the chaos. The blade found its mark, sinking into Danzo's thigh and adding another injury to his list. Despite the pain, Danzo was far from defeated. He was wounded, yes, but still a formidable opponent. Danzo's eyes darted around as he sought refuge, and that's when he saw a masked boy darting towards him. The Danzo's voice rang out, demanding, "Who are you? Were you the one who poisoned the elders?" Sasuke, ever the silent assassin, had no interest in introductions or speeches. His focus was singular: to accomplish his mission. To kill Danzo. His eyes flicked to Danzo's injuries, assessing the situation. The wounds were deep, and if he kept the pressure on Danzo, prevented him from treating his injuries, he might be able to bleed him out. However, a direct confrontation was risky, he realized. It could leave him exposed, vulnerable. He needed to strategize, to find the optimal balance between aggression and caution. With a swift movement, he launched another kunai at Danzo, aiming to exacerbate his injuries and keep him on the defensive. He knew his enemy was formidable, even in his wounded state, and he would not underestimate him. As time wore on, Sasuke could tell that Danzo was losing strength. His movements were sluggish, his reactions slowed, and he was struggling to stay on his feet. Danzo's blood loss was taking its toll. Sasuke saw his opportunity. He stepped out from the shadows, meeting Danzo's gaze unflinchingly. I'm ending this now, he declared. Danzo's response was immediate. He had been waiting for Sasuke to get close enough, and now was his chance. He activated the explosive tags he had planted around himself, aiming to take Sasuke down with him. The tags were arranged to ensure his own safety while maximizing damage on his attacker. Sasuke, caught off guard, couldn't evade in time and suffered minor injuries in the blast. Yet, he was quick to call forth Susanoo, shielding himself from the worst of the explosion. Danzo, having exhausted his strength, fell unconscious from blood loss. Seeing his opponent incapacitated, Sasuke didn't hesitate. He uttered a single word, Amaterasu, casting the deadly black fire to consume Danzo's unconscious body. As the last flickers of the dark flames extinguished, Sasuke stood still, battle-worn and injured, staring at the charred remnants of his opponent. The adrenaline was starting to wear off, replaced by the raw pain of his injuries. His voice rasped out, not to anyone present but to the voice within his mind, his ever-present confidant, Naruto. Naruto, we've done it, he murmured, exhaustion seeping into his voice. The presence in his mind seemed to sigh in relief. Yeah, you did good, Sasuke, Naruto's voice echoed. But, is this really the path you want to walk? Sasuke sighed, not sure how to answer. He knew he was making choices that Naruto would not have approved of, but he also knew that this was a battle he had to fight. Alone. With a weary nod to the charred remains, Sasuke turned away. The night was still young, and he had other battles to fight. Chapter 11, Homecoming. Sasuke slipped back into his family home under the cover of night, the moonlight casting eerie shadows on his bruised and battered body. His mother gasped as she saw him, aghast at the sight of his scrapes, cuts, and dirt-covered clothes. My goodness, Sasuke! What happened to you? She rushed over, her eyes wide with concern. Sasuke, maintaining a light-hearted facade despite his injuries, managed a wry grin. You wouldn't believe it, but camping is dangerous business, he replied, a touch of humor in his voice. I got attacked by a wild boar. His mother, taking his words at face value, sighed in relief, her worry morphing into mild exasperation. Oh, Sasuke, you really need to be more careful, she admonished, starting to clean and bandage his wounds. His father, hearing the conversation, looked at Sasuke with a mixture of concern and pride. And what happened to this boar? He asked, an amused twinkle in his eye. Sasuke, now enjoying the playfulness, replied with a nonchalant shrug, I killed it. His father laughed heartily, clapping Sasuke on the back, that's my boy. Thus, the evening passed, the Uchiha household filled with a warm, familial atmosphere, masking the dangerous undertones of Sasuke's true escapade. Just as the family started to settle down, the front door opened again to admit Itachi, back from his mission. His face changed subtly when he saw Sasuke, his younger brother, covered in bandages, but he didn't voice his concern. Sasuke, what happened? Itachi asked, his voice measured but the concern apparent in his gaze. Wild boar attack, Sasuke replied simply, managing a grin. Apparently, camping isn't as safe as it's cracked up to be. Their mother, busy setting the table for dinner, called out then, dinner is ready, come sit down. Enough about wild boars and camping. Itachi merely nodded, taking in Sasuke's nonchalant demeanor and the proud look on their father's face. He followed his family to the dinner room, his thoughts racing. He had his own suspicions, but for now, he decided to keep them to himself. With that, they all sat down to enjoy a peaceful dinner, the normalcy of the situation almost absurd considering the events of the day. But for now, they were simply a family enjoying a meal together, a calm moment in the storm of the ninja world. During dinner, conversations flipped from topic to topic, from the innocuous chatter about their daily activities to more serious discussions. The conversation took a somber turn when Fugaku, Sasuke's father and the current leader of the Uchiha police force, mentioned an ongoing investigation. "We're investigating a serious incident," Fugaku said, his voice grave. "All of the village elders were poisoned. It's a disturbing situation." "Poisoned? That's horrible," Sasuke replied, his voice filled with shock that was not entirely feigned. "Is there any lead on who could have done it?" Fugaku shook his head. "No, not yet. It's a complicated case. We're still gathering evidence." Sasuke nodded in understanding, his gaze lingering on his father. In the silence of his own mind, he turned to the voice he had come to rely on. "Looks like they haven't discovered Danzo's death yet, Naruto," Sasuke mused. Naruto's voice echoed back, equally thoughtful, "or they're just keeping it under wraps for now." "Either way, you've set a chain of events into motion, Sasuke. We can only wait and see how it unfolds." As the dinner conversation continued to swirl around him, Sasuke retreated into the solitude of his thoughts, engaging in a private conversation with the voice of his old friend. "What's next, Sasuke?" Naruto's voice asked, his tone serious. Sasuke glanced around the dinner table, his gaze lingering on his family for a moment longer than necessary before returning his focus to the mental conversation. "Our list is still long, Naruto," he admitted. "We have more targets, some even beyond the boundaries of the hidden leaf." There was a brief silence as Naruto seemed to digest his words. "This journey isn't over, is it?" Naruto finally murmured, the resignation in his voice almost palpable. "No," Sasuke confirmed, "it's only just begun." His voice was resolute, the sound of determination echoing in the silence of his mind. He may have just set a new course for his village, but his mission was far from over. With that final declaration, he returned his attention to his family, his determination hidden behind a smile as he immersed himself in the moment, aware of the long road still ahead of him.